Alright, y'all. This is going to be my longest running series, and it forever will be. So, what I plan on doing is making this range from 20 to 30 parts, all roughly an hour and a half long. So, this video is what if Deku was Luffy? Alright, so let's get into something real quick. So, instead of there being heroes and villains, there's the Navy, and then there's pirates. Cough, cough, Deku. Pirate. So, Navy, it has a school. It's technically a ship, but it's like a moving ship, shall we say. So, yeah. And that technically is what happened after quarks were found out. So, yeah. Why'd I go to Bluetooth? Oh, sorry. Yo, my eyes are just like straight. Just being like, bruh, why ain't we been closed in forever? But, anywho. So, Deku, there's one thing that I will be changing about his outfit. So, you see them flip-flops? Yeah, them things getting replaced by these. Also, Nike, I'm gonna need you to build me a pair of these. But yeah. So, yeah. That's all I need to point out for real. Oh yeah, also, Zachary Cox, I'm gonna need you to one, download Discord, two, hop on my Discord, cause I've noticed that you do not have a profile pic. And yeah, how shall I say this? Made one for you. So yeah. But anywho, so when Deku is born, well, Deku, Izuku, but his name will be Luffy. But anywho, so when Deku was born, he's going to be born to he'll still be born to Inko and Hizashi. But yeah. So let's skip to 4 years old. And Deku, instead of Hizashi, it's Monkey D. Dragon. So Deku is Monkey D. Luffy. But and then Garp is his grandfather. And Deku, he always wants to be a pirate. And Garp, that's something that he finds annoying. Because, again, he's like the hero of the Navy. That's what he's called. But he's just annoyed at it, but he still loves his grandson. And whatever his grandson chooses, he'll respect that. But not after beating the crap out of him. Or unless his grandson can beat the crap out of him. But, anywho. Deku And sorry, y'all, if it sounds like breathing heavily or something. I've been sick. I'm tired. School is a pain. But anywho, I'm sorry for not posting. But anywho, so Deku, he goes ahead and he goes to Inko with the Quirk Doctor. Dragon, yeah, nigga set sail after Deku turned 3. Yeah, let's go with 3. But anywho, so Deku, he goes ahead and he gets announced that his quirk is called Rubber Man, and that he can essentially elongate his skin, and all of his organs are made of rubber. And Deku is just like, cool. So, let's go over to Bakugo. So Bakugo, he got his quirk explosions. He wants to be a Navy officer. He wants to be an admiral. And he admires Garp a lot. And he never really asked Deku his opinion on what he wanted to be. He always assumed that since Garp was Luffy's granddad, that's what he thought Deku would choose too. And then Deku, he asked his mom if he could go and play with Bakugo. He says, "Hey Bakugo, I got my quirk." He says, "Oh really, is it? Or no, oh really, Luffy?" He says, "Yep. It's called Rubber Man." He says, "Huh? What's that gonna do?" And Deku, he like elongates like the side of his cheek, or like the side of his mouth, I mean. And he says, sort of like this. And then he like reels back a like fist. And he says, "Hey, move, Bakugo." And he says, "Gum gum pistol." Bang. And it like creates shockwaves just a little bit. Not that much, but it knocks some of the kids back. And he says, "Wow, that's really powerful, Luffy." And he says, "Yeah. So what's yours, Bakugo?" He says, "Oh, mine's explosions," as he pops many explosions in his hands. But anywho, Deku, he goes ahead. Oh wait, yeah, and there's something I want to point out real quick. I've made more videos than NF has songs. Let that sink in. NF's been around for a couple of years. So, you want to tell him or should I? Just kidding. I respect that man and all his work. Anyhow, Deku, he goes ahead and he says, "Oh, Bakugo, I want to be a pirate." And Bakugo, he's like, "Luffy wants to be a pirate?" Like, his whole world got shattered. And he said, "Get away from me, you villain." And Deku said, "Huh?" And Deku said, Huh? What do you mean, Bakugo? And he says, I said get away from me, you villain. And he said, but I'm not a villain. Like, he says, anyone that thinks pirates are cooler wants to be a pirate is a villain. How could you do that? The great hero's your grandfather. How could you disrespect him like that? And he says, I don't care what my grandfather thinks or about who he is. What I do with my life is all my own. And what he does is all his. And Inko, she's also an admiral. And they call her, like, seismic force. Well, that's what her quirk is. It basically allows her to send out, freaking electromagnetic shockwaves. And the red line and the grand line are still a thing. So, yeah. But anyway, so Deku, he goes ahead and he is just like, well, see you later, Bakugo. And Bakugo, he says, don't ever see me again, you useless villain. And so Deku, he's just like, okay. And so Deku, at that moment in time, he realized that people don't very much like pirates. And so he was like, it doesn't matter. I'll train and I'll get stronger. I'll become the strongest pirate. I'll be the pirate king, like Gold Roger. And that was Deku's inspiration for becoming a pirate. Gold D. Roger. The king of the pirates. The one who obtained the One Piece. But at that moment, Deku, he had decided to start training himself. And so, let's fast forward, so he was 14 or 4 at that time. Let's skip about 6 years. So he's 10 now. Deku, he feels like he's not getting anywhere with his training. And he's developed the Gum Gum pistol, the Gum Gum whip. He does understand that he has a strange ability that, like, forces people in the area to, like, bow down or, like, choke or, like, pass out. And the air gets, like, denser around him. But he doesn't know what it is. Cough, cough, conquers hockey. But, Deku, he goes ahead. Wait, no, I haven't finished the moves. Gum Gum Gatling, Gum Gum Bazooka, Gum Gum Rocket. Frick, what was that one? I can't remember. Oh well. But anywho, Deku, at the age of 10, he met this pirate named Shanks when Deku was out on the dock one day. And he was jacking around. And he was like talking to Shanks. And this big sea king just pops out of the sea. And it goes to like try and eat Deku. Shanks, he moves Deku out of the way, but at the cost of his arm. And he was like, Shanks, your arm. He says, it's better than letting a kid go to waste like you. Okay, kid. And Shanks, he smiles at Deku, aka Luffy. And he says, the straw hat means the world to me. So I'll trust it with you until the day that we meet again. Or, no, until the day that you can beat me. Okay? And the day that you finally become Pirate King. As he puts the straw hat on Luffy's head, Luffy, he cries a little. And he says, I'll do my best. And he's like sniffing, or not sniffing, sniffling. Your brain doesn't work very well on an empty stomach. But anywho, so Deku, he goes ahead and but anywho, Deku, he increases his training by a lot. So now we cut over to Deku on the first day of middle school. And all of class 1A is like in the same class. They all think of Deku as like a villain or like a pirate or like someone that needs to be stopped. And everyone thinks of him as a disgrace. To be Garp's grandson. And so we cut to one day when Bakugo was bullying Deku. And Deku, he just takes it all with a smile. And like, even though deep down inside, Deku, he's internally just like, I'm going to beat the crap out of it. Like, just mad beyond all belief. But he has a smile on his face. And Deku, he says, Bakugo, he says, you damn Deku, how dare you smile? You don't deserve to, you villain! And he says, howitzer, impact! Bam! Blast Deku. And like, this is the first time that Deku ever really took damage. As he was just blasted in the chest. And like, his back, like, sprang out. And then, like, the whole, like, well, his back, like, whiplashed back into place. And Deku, he was on the ground, like, holding his stomach. He, like, coughed a little. And he says, how dare you? And Deku, he just punches him once. And then he says, Gum Gum Pistol Barrage. It was Gum Gum Rifle. Yeah, it was Gum Gum Rifle, wasn't it? But he just starts wailing on him. And like the entire class, they said, look at this villain. And so, Deku, he goes ahead and And yeah, he was just beating on him. But everybody, they just go ahead and they just label Deku as a villain, and they all start trying to hurt him and like ruin his reputation. There we go. But anywho, so Deku, at the age of 15, or wait, no, we're still in. So time skip to middle school, or the last day of middle school. So Deku, he's 15. So the teacher, he comes in, and he's like a captain for the Navy. And he says, I all know that you guys want to be admirals. And they all yell like, yeah. And the teacher, he says, except for one person. As he would look at Deku, he was just sleeping with a book on his head. And he says, stupid Luffy. And then everybody, they proceed with the rest of their day. So, Deku, at this point, he thinks, it's about time I start to form my pirate crew. Sorry, y'all. My brain just, it hurts. Okay? I'm sorry that y'all are having to go through this, but I feel like I'm stuck in a rut, okay? Like, leave in the comments, try to take a few days of rest from school and stuff. So that way, the next time that I do give y'all a video, I'm well rested and I don't have to pause so much. Or if y'all just want me to continue to make parts and stuff, yeah, just let me know. But anywho, so that voice crack. But anywho, so Deku, as he is leaving, about to set off, or no, he does set off. So he finds a small boat, about it's a 2-story boat, so like top one and then bottom. And so Deku and the boat, it's a fairly big size. It's about size of my room, so 20 feet across, and then 20 feet from side to side, and then 25 from back to front. Okay? And so Deku, he takes the ship and he's like sailing around for a while. until he finds another pirate ship. And he, like, throws down his anchor. And this ship, of course, being Velveeta's ship. Well, the ship that she was raiding. But, anywho, Deku, he uses Gum Gum Rocket to hop up there and see what's going on. Deku, he goes to where the kitchen is. Do you hear my voice cracking? It never cracks this much during a video. My god. But, anywho. So, this nigga, he go ahead and he goes to the kitchen to, like, find some food. And he sees this 3 older guys picking on a kid with purplish, bluish, magenta type hair. And the boy's wearing a sailor outfit. And he just says, "Hey, leave the kid alone." This kid, obviously being Kobe. And they say, "Hey, what are you gonna do about it?" And he says, "Or else, I'm gonna rock a fella." Comment if you understand it. Like, bruh. But anywho, Deku, he, like, gets into a fighting stance. And Deku at this point in time, he looks like this. But, he's wearing these shoes, but red and white. And he's wearing this outfit, because this is my favorite Luffy outfit. It's the best one, let's be honest. But, anywho, so he's wearing this outfit. And then, but yeah, he just has some more muscles, so essentially 8-pack, Mortify, and he ain't got that big, bulky chin, you feel me? It's more like his chin in this picture, like this. And he has the tattoo from this picture as well. So, yeah. But, anywho, so, Deku, he goes ahead and he says, "Gum Gum Gatling," or nah, "Gumu Gumu no Gatling." Yeah, his them niggas up with an aura, even though he ain't got a stand, and he can't stand it. But kill me now. Anywho, so Deku, he saves Kobe. He says, "So, what's wrong with you, kid? And why are you here on a pirate ship?" He says, "Velveeta, one day I was going fishing and she captured me and made me her servant." He said, "Well, what's your dream, kid?" He says, "I want to join the Navy and serve under Admiral Garp." And he says, "So you want to say serve under my grandfather, huh? Alright. I'm gonna help you achieve your dream, kid." He says, "Huh? Are you with the Navy?" He says, "Nope. I'm a pirate." He says, "But isn't Garp your grandfather?" He says, "Yep. But that doesn't mean a thing. So I'm gonna help you with your dream." And as soon as he says that, Velveeta, she comes through and she says, "Huh? How dare you try to take my cabin boy?" And as soon as she says that, man set her up with that Gumu Gumu no Rocket. But instead of leaping somewhere, he like grabbed her and dragged her over to him with his left hand. And then in his right hand, he like compressed it, sort of like how when he was first turning into Gear Second, when he was like pumping his bloodstream. At this point, he does know how to use gear second, by the way. And he just strikes her like pop, 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 and it was like replayed 3 times. Dang, that's gotta hurt. Anywho, he says, "Alright, but first, you're going to help me." And Kobe, he says, "Help you what?" He says, "Help me load all of this food into my place, my guy." He says, "Oh, do you have a big part?" "Nah, it's only a 20 by 25 2 deck." And he went straight up, "That's pretty big." And he says, "Nah, not really." Anywho, they put all this stuff in barrels. Luffy puts all the stuff on his ship, and then he grabs Kobe. He hops down. He's like, "Alright." And they set sail off to the mainland to also get some more supplies and to take Kobe to a Navy base. Deku, he arrives, and he goes there along with Kobe, and he's like, "Why is this place so down?" And then he sees a kid getting mugged by this guy with blonde hair and his big chin and what looks to be buck teeth. This is Monoma, but Monoma is Helmeppo, okay? And if you don't know who Helmeppo is, alright, I just had to do this. Darn it, where is the picture of then versus now, my nigga? But yeah, he looked like this. Right now, that is. But yeah, he looks like this for right now. He about to get put in this place, don't worry. Deku, he strikes him, and he says, "Hey, don't pick on that little kid. Go on someplace and pick on somebody with your own size." And he says, "Huh? Don't you know who my father is? He's Captain Morgan, the leader of this Navy base. So I suggest that you not hurt me again, or else you be decapitated. Or executed, like that pirate hunter Zoro." And he just says that, and he says, "Wait, Zoro's here? Say less. He's my new crewmate." And Kobe, he's just like, "Zoro, your new crewmate? Polly." And he says, "Watch this." But anywho, they go over, and they said, "Oh, so that's Zoro." And this old girl, she climbs up a ladder, and she gets down, and she runs over to Zoro, and he says, "Here, I made you some rice balls." Bruh. But, and then Helmeppo, aka Monoma, grabs it, and he says, "What trash?" And he takes a bite out of it, and he spits it out, and he says, "Ugh, are supposed to be made with salt, not sugar. How dare you insult the recipes?" And she says, "But I," and she starts crying. and Deku, he's just watching. He's like gritting his teeth, and like Kobe, he can feel like the amount of anger that Luffy has. How annoying. But anyhow, so Deku, he goes ahead, and he, what should I do with it? Yeah. So after Helmeppo leaves, he goes down. He says, "Hey, why didn't you take the little girl's food?" He says, "Huh? Who are you?" And Deku, he says, "I'm Luffy, the future Pirate King." And he like smiles. And Zoro, he says, yeah, whatever, just he like licks his lips and he says, "Pick up that rice ball off the ground for me." And Deku, he's just like, "Nigga, what?" He says, "You heard me, pick up the rice ball off the ground." Deku, he does it. He hands it to him, and he says, "Here." It's basically a ball of mud now, but yeah. I mean, if you want to eat it, be my guest. Zoro, he scarfs that down, and he says, "So, you're gonna be joining my crew." And Zoro, he says, "What? I never agreed to that." And he says, "Yeah, you did." And he says, "When? When did I agree with that?" And he says, "As soon as you step foot on this island, my guy. And after I saved you." He says, "Saved you," and he's just like, "Save me, nigga, excuse me." He says, "You heard me." And Deku, he just, oh god. But anywho, so Deku, he goes ahead, and at this point, he asks, "Hey Zoro, so where are your swords?" And he says, "They're in there in Captain Morgan's office. He confiscated them after I beat up his kid for trying to ruin the shop." And he says, "I'll grab them for you. And then you have to join my crew, alright?" And he says, "For the last time, I'm not becoming a pirate. I'm a pirate hunter, don't you understand that?" And he says, "And you're still joining my crew." And Deku, he runs off and he jets up. Or he says, "Gum gum, rocket!" And he like grabs onto the open windowsill. And he like launches himself in. And he like sees 3 swords in the corner. He says, "There we go. I wonder which one is his though." And he like grabs all 3 of them. And he says, "Oh well." He jumps out the window. And Zoro's quirk is all-seeing eye. So essentially, his quirk allows him to predict people's movements within a 3-second time span. So anything 3 seconds ahead of him, he will see and potentially be able to counter, unless the opponent is still too strong. And it can still get upgraded, but the max is 6 seconds. But he also has his techniques such as the thousand-fold mirror world. Yeah, that was sick when he did that. Like, I'm gonna be real with you. He grabs them. Well, Luffy, he grabs them, jumps out the window. He's like, huh? What's that idiot doing? Me who farted. Just like, But, anywho. Is he trying to kill himself? And he sees that Deku's, like, perfectly fine. And Deku, he runs over to him. And he says, here you go. Didn't know which ones were yours, so I just grabbed them all. And Captain Morgan, at this time, he came back. And so, he was about to come and execute Zoro. And so he was like, huh? What are you doing? And then Luffy says, huh? And then, Helmeppo, aka Monoma, he says, he's the one that hurt me, Daddy. He's the one that hit me. How dare he? And Monoma, in this one, his quirk, instead of copying, it's a speed quirk. Kind of. Or what is Helmeppo's ability? You know what? His ability is just to, like, any weapon that he holds, he can know how to efficiently use it. Okay. But, anywho. Captain Morgan, he, like, says, how dare you hit my son? And, like, rushes at Deku. And, like, he tries to slash him, Deku. He, like, ducks, kicks that nigga in the family jewels, and Morgan, he just, like, holds him, and he's like, ah. And then Deku, he breaks Morgan's arm, folding it backwards, and Morgan's arm accidentally goes into his spine. Yeah, he severed that. Morgan is now dead. Helmeppo, he was traumatized. Yeah, nigga fell to the ground. And then Deku, he was like, I didn't mean for that to happen. Well, oh well. And, like, all the soldiers, they salute to him and they say, thank you for freeing this island, but since you are pirates, we must ask you to leave. And Deku, he says, yep, give me a moment. He unties Zoro. He says, alright, Zoro, let's get going. And Zoro, he says, fine, you're an okay guy. He says, alright, but first, let's head into town and get some supplies. And he says, oh yeah, Marines. Give me 1 second. As he walks up to them, and he says, hey, I want you guys to take this little dude in. He wants to be a Marine. I just helped him out, okay? So, do it for me, okay? Think of it as repaying the favor I did you guys. And the guy, he says, fine, but only this once. Don't bring us someone else again, okay? He says, alright, see ya. As he, like, waves, and Deku and Zoro, they go into town. And Zoro, he says, so, you're putting together a pirate crew. So how many people do you have already? And he says, just me and you. He says, what? He says, yeah, it's just me and you. All I'll need is 10 people. And then we can officially be a crew. That's all I'll need to become the Pirate King. And so Zoro, he's just like, you're insane. And he says, yeah, but insane people are the ones the people follow. And at that point, Zoro was just looking at him. And he's like, nigga ain't wrong, but I don't want to say he's right. Like, I'm conflicted. And Deku, he left after grabbing a barrel of water and some other things. And he bought, like, a bunch of ingredients and stuff. And Deku, he somewhat knows how to cook. And by somewhat, I mean the only thing he knows how to cook is, like, stove pizza, ramen, like, packaged ramen, lasagna, and, like, stovetop pizza. And by stovetop, I mean, like, you can fully make it and then, like, throw it in the, like, on a frying pan, I mean, and cook it on the stove. So, yeah, he knows how to do that, and he already installed that stuff. So, yeah. He and Zoro, they carry it all down there, and he, like, puts it in. And Kobe, he, like, runs after them, and as they're putting the stuff in, he says, Luffy! And, like, shouts his name, and he says, huh? And he says, will we still be friends? And, like, Deku, he ran up to him, and he punched him, and he says, I'm not friends with Marines. Hardening Kobe's resolve, and Kobe, he knows this. And, like, the rest of the Marines, they salute him, and Kobe, he salutes him too, and he says, bye, Luffy. And he says, bye, Marine. As he smirks, and him and Zoro leave. So, Deku, him and Zoro, they're just out cruising. And they do have fishing poles, and like Zoro, he's like fishing. And Luffy, he's down below deck. And he's like cooking some food. And he says, alright, as he brings up 2 plates of lasagna. And sets it on the table. He's like, hey Zoro, come eat. And Zoro, he says, alright. As he sets it down, he's like, also, Luffy, where'd you learn how to cook this lasagna? Because from the past time that you've cooked it, it's amazing. And he says, yeah, but it's really the only thing that I can really cook. And he says, I know that, but still, it's pretty good. He says, yeah, but we should also get a chef, don't you think? And he says, yeah, we should, to make sure our nutritional values are up to date. And he says, yeah, we also need a navigator, don't we? You're like, yep, we do. And he says, well, we'll find them eventually. And Zoro, he says, I guess we will. So, Deku and they stumble upon an island, and they're like, oh hey, an island. Well, let's go. And not knowing that an orange-haired girl Namitswa in the words of the biggest simp in history. Like, legit. Fight me. Sanji is the king of simps. King of the simps. Yeah. But, anywho, and Zoro, he does have these shoes. Let me find Sanji a pair of shoes. Art. Let me just fix that. But yeah, I would kill to get me a pair of them. Sorry y'all. But and these will be Sanji's shoes for when he comes into the story. But yeah, he'll have these, but like all black and like metal toe. Well, metal toe and heel. But yeah. And so, this orange-haired girl, she's pleading to this dude with a clown nose. As we all know, this is Buggy. And so, Deku, he's like walking around and he sees this and she's like, there's my boss. He's the one that made me steal from you guys. And he's like, eh. And Buggy, he grabs that nigga and throws him in a cage. He's like, eh, what the huh? Like, nigga's just confused. But Deku, he just punches it and the thing breaks. And he's like, eh, that was easy, but what in the... And then as he says that, Beast Tamer Mochi just comes out of nowhere. Rawr, nigga, back. Hits him in the back of the head. But Deku, his face just like bobbles like a bobblehead. He just looks and he's like, eh, what was that? I felt a slight scratch on my neck. And Beast Tamer Mochi, he's just like, am I a joke to you? Like, excuse me? And, let's cut over to Bakugo and them. So, at this point, all of Class 1A who has, gone ahead and, like, they essentially picked this, like, ship They wanted to be under. So Bakugo, he chose Garps. And imagine who all you want and whose. So at that point, Garp, he had heard of Luffy and how he had recruited Zoro from that Navy base. And again with the voice cracks. And so he said, "Hey Bakugo, did you know that Luffy recruited Zoro, the pirate hunter?" He says, "Wait, Luffy actually did it? He became a pirate? I thought he was joking." And Garpy says, "That kid never did joke. I wish I could have seen him one last time before he left out to sea." He says, "What are you gonna do? Are we gonna go stop him?" And he says, "No. I'm going to let my grandson pave out his own journey." And he smiles. And Bakugo, he's just like, And so we cut back over to Deku. He looks at Beast Tamer Mochi. And he just says, "Hey, who are you?" And he says, "I'm Beast Tamer Mochi." And Deku, he says, "Nah, get out of here with that gay." Like, bruh. He went straight up, "Get out of here with your gay self." Hit him up with that bing, bing, bada boom, ba. So essentially, he unloaded a full clip of gum pistols. And then he was about to hit Beast Tamer Mochi with one more. And then Zoro, he came out of nowhere. And he said, "So, what's going on?" He got hit with a buggy ball that was meant to hit Luffy. And he got hit with it, split open his skin a little bit. So, right here, if you didn't know. So yeah, on his chest, split open there. And he fell to the ground for a second. So he was on his knee. And so Deku, he looked at him and he said, "Zoro, you alright?" And Zoro, he was like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he coughs up a little bit of blood. And he says, "So, you gonna be able to fight?" And he says, "Yeah." And he gets up, and the cyclist dude, don't remember his name, but he challenges Zoro and he says, "I'm the best swordsman in the world. Don't you dare try and face me," unaware that Mihawk was a god. Anyhow. As the cyclist guy, he rushes at Zoro. Zoro, he says, "Folding technique. Automatic clap." What? And it's just bang. That's the sound of him sheathing a sword. It sounded like a gun's. A gun went off. Pop. And he legit killed that dude. I'm killing him off One, I can't remember the dude's name. Two, he ain't really important to the story. The only one that I deem is important to the story in this segment is Buggy. So, yeah. Well, Buggy and Nami, but Namitsuan. Like, bruh. Sanji is the king of simps, minus Muhammad Ali Jr. Like, them niggas would get along just fine. But, anywho, so Deku, he runs after the orange-haired girl, and he says, "Hey, you alright?" And she says, "Get away from me, pirate." He says, "Yeah, but pirate, but hey, can you read maps?" And she's like, "Yeah, why?" And he says, "Well, you're joining my crew." And she says, "Huh, why would I join some pirates?" And he says, "'Cause we're all here to fulfill our exterior motives. I want to become Pirate King. Zoro wants to become the greatest swordsman alive. And you? I'm guessing that you would love to make a map of the world. Am I right? Or the first ever map of the Grand Line. Seeing as that all maps of the Grand Line were either destroyed or didn't make it back." And she says, "How could you?" And he says, "I could just tell." And he like smiles, and she says, "Fine, I'll join. Only if you beat Buggy and protect this town." He says, "Easy." As he like pulls up his sleeves, or not pulls up his sleeves. As he like throws up his hood and then places the pirate hat on top, or his straw hat on top, he rushes back to where Zoro was to see Zoro almost get hit by another buggy ball, but he like pushes Zoro out of the way, and he like takes it to the chest, and like some of his wound like opens up just a little bit. But he like springs it back, and it destroys the buggy cannon, wiping out a good deal of Buggy's forces. And then Buggy was like, "Huh? This is impossible. My buggy cannon is unstoppable. So what is this?" And Buggy, he's the father of Setsuna Takage. So yeah, she's still gonna be a hero. So yeah. But anywho, so Deku, he goes ahead and he looks at Buggy and he says, "I take it you're Buggy?" And Buggy, he says, "Yeah. Let's fight. I bet you'll lose though." We time skip 15 minutes after. Deku, he's panting, seeing as whenever he goes to hit Buggy just splits apart. And Zoro, he's just lying on the ground saying, my God. Like panting a little. Because he was fighting off Buggy's forces. So yeah. And Beast Tamer Mochi to some extent, but he knocked him out. So, Deku. He's struggling a little bit against Buggy. And he says, "Alright." And he like blows into his finger. And he's like pumping all the oxygen and blood into certain parts. And he says, gear second. And so Deku, he like rushes at Buggy with blinding speed, my guy. And he uppercuts him in the jaw. And then he reels back both of his fists. And he says, gum gum, whip. Bang. And then, like, as Buggy's flying, he, like, jumped up, like, behind Buggy. And he says, gumu gumu no. Bazooka! Bang! And he can only, like, as of now, hold gear second for, like, 5 minutes. Long enough, but still. As Buggy's back, it got broken. And that's, like, the only weakness for him. If anything happens to his back, then he can't split apart for 15 seconds. And so he's on the ground and he like gets up and he like rushes at Deku and he tries to like punch him. And then he splits apart. And then he says, haha, you can't touch me. And then he like tries to reform. And then he like tries to run at Deku. But he looks up at Deku and sees that Deku and everyone else is like really, really big. And he says, huh, where'd all my parts go? He looks over to see Nami standing over a bunch of his parts. And she says, haha, hey Luffy, punch him like a football. And Deku, he says, with pleasure. And Deku, he says, downfield. Bang. And yeah, you know that like star animation when something like gets kicked like real far? Yeah, that happens. And so Nami, she's now on their team. But yeah. So, let's go to a guy with a long nose that looks like Pinocchio. We all know who I'm talking about. Usopp. AKA the Pinocchio reject. Sorry, I mean off-brand Pinocchio. I mean, the inspiration for Pinocchio. Pinocchio. We all know. The one with the mile-long nose. So, but yeah. I'm still convinced that Usopp is a nigga. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Oh yeah, and did you know? Apparently Deku is black. Just like, bruh. How are you gonna say that nigga? Like, legit, apparently he's black. He's mixed. And I'm just like, 1, represent. 2, how in the, like, how? I digress. But anywho, so this long nosed freaking Pinocchio looking nigga, he's yelling, pirates are coming, pirates are here, run, they're gonna kill us all. And then like the villagers, they're chasing after him. He gets away. He says, what a thrill. We go back to our team as Zoro, he's fishing. And then he finally gets a tug. And he says, "Yay!" And he like pulls it up. And it's like a 13-foot long bass. And Deku, he says, "Okay, that's going in the freezer." They cut off its head. And they debone it. And so they cut off the fillets. And then they put them in a bag and put them in the freezer. So yeah. And then they threw the skeleton back into the ocean. And so yeah. So Deku, he goes ahead and he just says, "Hey, look, it's land." And Zoro, he caught a couple more fish. They did the same thing with it too. While Nami, she was making a map of all the places that they went. And she noticed that they were running low. Well, that and she needed some feminine products. Cough, cough. Tampon. Yeah. But anywho. So, Deku, they reach the island. And Deku, he runs into town. And he bumps into this long-nosed nigga. Oh yeah, and Zoro, he's the same age as Luffy. And technically, Luffy and Zoro are both 16 at this point. So yeah. And Usopp, he's 15. He'll be younger than them. But yeah. And so they go to a restaurant along with Usopp because they're going to use him as sort of a guide. Well, for places in the island. But yeah. Let's skip ahead a little bit to when they're with him, when they had asked him to get a ship. This is when he punches Clawdor. And then he says, "How dare you!" And he like runs away. And Deku, he runs after him. But Nami and Zoro, they stay there. And then after it gets dark and they're still there, they hear Clawdor saying some things, shall we say, about how he's gonna kill Mary. Yeah, I think that's what her name was, Mary. And so, yeah. And they hear all this about, like, the approaching ships and everything. And so, they run down to the dock, like, the area that they got into, where they see Luffy and Usopp just, like, talking. And they heard, from when, freaking Clawdor had, well, they told them about what Clawdor had said. Deku, he got mad. And so Nami, she said, "How about we put down some traps and stuff for when they come, since they're supposed to be coming tomorrow?" And then Luffy, he said, "Hey, that's a good idea. Alright, let's chop down some trees." Zoro, he says, "Got it covered." Slices them things. And then Nami, she says, "Hey, Luffy, I want you to dig a hole. He says, how many feet wide and how many feet deep? And she says, 3 wide, 5 deep. So he digs out a hole that deep. And it's like from side to side of the little canyon area. And they actually were at the right area from where they were coming this time. Okay? So they set up the traps there. And then Usopp, he threw down like spikes and tacks and things. And then Nami, she went into town. She picked up some like mines, and she had Zoro and Luffy like bury them. They do that. And like Usopp, he's like, so how do we create barricades? And they look at like this really, really big tree. They cut it down, and like it fits the exact size of the canyon that they're at. So like they cut off the like part with all the branches and stuff, and they like fit it in and make like a little groove so that way it doesn't fall down, but it's still not like down. So that way if they need to like kick it down and like get some people off, they could. And then Zoro and Luffy, with like the remaining like logs and stuff that they had, they made like spikes and stuff all along the place, so they had to be even more careful of where they stepped. And then they made like a small like little shield area for Usopp to like sit and snipe. So then let's go to when they all actually get there. So when they all arrive, Jungle and them, we're all like, hey yo, what is this? And like he also put down the oil in front of there. So yeah, they all go, doesn't look that dangerous to me. He says, yeah, they're probably just a bunch of low-life traps put up to protect against the puny pirates. As the one that says that immediately falls to the ground with a lump on his head due from being shot by Usopp. You've been hit by. You've been struck by. Don't make me bust out the memes. But anyhow, Deku, he goes ahead and he like zones them by like flicking air pressure at them. 'Cause yes, he can do that. And he creates like shock waves by using Gum Gatling. And he uses like quick flashes of Gear Second and uses Jet Gatling a couple times. So yeah. I wonder where my mom is, 'cause she ain't been home. Anywho. So, Deku, he goes ahead, and at this point in time, I need to get me some food. But, anywho, so, at this point, Deku, he was just zooming them from far away. And Zoro, he was slashing at the air to make sure that they would also do the same thing because he's also creating air pressure. So yeah. But yeah. But anywho. So Deku, aka Luffy, as he was doing that, he noticed something. That these two cat-like guys and this big Teletubby fat chunky nigga. I'm going to talk. Fat boy. Sorry, I was signaling to my dog. But so Deku, he says, "Hey, watch out for them." As he like strikes the air. Django, he says, I need to make all of our troops stronger. And then, on the count of Django, you will all remove all of your limitations. Your quirks will be 2 times stronger. And you will have infinite stamina. And then Nami, she says, Nami nama. And then Zoro, he says, eh eh. And then Luffy, he pipes in and says, waka waka eh eh. And then Usopp, he says, Samina mina saklewa. And then Nami, it goes back to her and she says, it's time for Africa. I'm cringing at myself. Please kill me. Anywho. Seeing as I'm finally done being cringe, for now, Deku, he goes ahead, and he finally, and by finally, I mean finally, gets hit by Django. Well, not by Django, but by Django's ability. Word lore. So, he's the brother of Mike, by the way. sorry y'all for a long pause. Again, I was eating. But, anywho. Luffy, he just yells, "Aah!" And everybody's like, what the heck's going on with him? He jumps over everything. Then nigga used gear second. Blam. Everybody was getting smoked. And Jonko, he was just like, nigga, what is this? And then Kuro, he walked up and he says, what is taking so long? You know I don't like being disappointed. And seeing as Deku had already defeated the other two cat guys and the rest of this nigga's forces, Zoro said, I gotta step up as second in command and show my strength. Like, nigga. He started throwing decent hands, and then like the effects of Django's thing had finally worn off, and Luffy was like, hey Nami, go loot their entire ship. I know you like treasure, so you should find some pretty good stuff. And she says, thank you, Captain. And then, like, Usopp, he's hitting shots on, Claudor. And, like, the Mary girl, she had figured out what Claudor had been doing. Saying as Mary, the, butler, he told her what Claudor tried to do to him. She was shocked, but then realized, I need to apologize to Pinocchio. Seeing as she called him a liar and disrespected him like that. But, Deku, as he was boxing with this nigga, or as Zoro was boxing with this nigga used his out-of-the-bag attack and was, like, slashing around everywhere. It caught Zoro off guard, so he did hit Zoro a couple of good times. A couple of clean, good hits. And, he slashed near the testes, my guy. And so, seeing as it was near the testes, Zoro, yeah, nigga went straight up. Nah, fam. Hey, Luffy, I'm gonna tag you in. Have fun, nigga. But yeah. But yeah. And so Deku, he had run at him, trying to like find out where he was. And then Claudor ran out of stamina for the attack. And so then he rushed at Deku. And Deku, he like spun around and hit him with a kick at the back of Clawdor's neck. Clawdor, he tried to slash at his chest. Deku, he grabbed it and flipped him over his shoulder like it was judo and dislocated Kuro's shoulder. And then Kuro yelled, "I won't let you take away everything that I've worked so hard for," as he rushed at Deku. As Deku, he did the same. And so, Deku, he had used a gum rocket to like get out of the way of Clawdor's attack, and then roundhouse kicked Clawdor, but like as his leg was moving towards the opposite side, he did the sickle kick that Jin Mori does, where he like wraps around his calf, like the base of his leg close to his foot, around the person's neck, so like the back of his knee is at like the back of the person's neck, and like took that man's head down to the floor. And then Deku, he like dropped on his back, dropped onto Clawdor's back, driving his knee straight into Clawdor's back, breaking it, and then making him paralyzed, so now he can't move his legs. And so seeing that Clawdor cannot move his legs, he has now been incapacitated. And that's where I'm going to leave this video off, seeing as somebody has walked through the door. And this video is probably an hour long. So I will see you guys later. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the flip side.